Welcome back, MTG Joe here. Today we are going to do another installment of the weekly meta breakdown, looking at the best performing decks on the MTG Arena ladder. This video is going to be for the, and I'm going to say it folks, brace yourself, Alchemy. Yes, I said the A word. Some folks still do enjoy the format. It might not be for everyone. I do try to cover all the formats. So when we have some data and stuff like that, I like to get it out for folks. So if you don't enjoy your Alchemy, definitely skip this video, but if you are, we'll try to cover a bunch of decks that are reasonable for the best of one format. I have a couple best of three instances here, but we got a new set that dropped. In terms of Alchemy, we also had the nerfs of Bowmaster and the One Ring, which hopefully opened up the format a little bit more. For reference, the last time I tried to record this video, the meta distribution was 80% mono black. That was the only deck people were playing pretty much. So it has, just looking quickly at what you see on the screen, much more variety, at least in the sense of reasonable cards. You know, Bowmaster is legacy and modern playable, and then you put it with a bunch of standard cards in this Alchemy format. Wasn't really a good recipe to kind of go from here. So we'll look at the deck lists for this. I'll link everything in the video description, timestamp it, so we can go from there. As always, we get the data from UntapGG. This video, I'm also looking at MTG decks just for a couple other instances, because the sample size, which we'll cover in a sec, is not very large compared to standard, for example. As reference, I'm looking at the last week. We'll take a look at popularity in a sec, but there's 15,000 games played in this format, from bronze to mythic. I couldn't really filter for higher ranks, so I did have to omit some starter decks from here, but if we look at standard, for example, it's 350,000 games being played in the same sample size. Obviously, standard's kind of there, but yeah, Explorer at 33,000, Historic 43,000. So there's quite a significance in terms of the overall volume of games being played. So if we look at it, popularity of the day, there's a good mix of things. We have Abzan Pigs, 6.3, Mono Black Midrange still having some numbers at 4.7, the Nazgul deck, 4%, even though like the Nazgul deck's got a terrible win rate. 4-color Legends, Mono Red, Golgari Midrange Soldiers, Phyrexians. Kind of a whole mix, but we could see like Mono Black Midrange just being really, really high up here in terms of like overall distribution, and we see it kind of pretty much go away, just kind of fall down in here. We see the Pig deck being very popular at the set release, and then kind of slowly all kind of normalize in the 5-ish% range. Kind of going from there. So we'll jump into it. We have 4-color Legends. So this is a combo variant. So you have a bunch of Legends here. And there's kind of 2 Legends decks we'll take a look at today. There's the Jodah Legends and this. This is the combo variant. So Ratadrabik with the combination of Boromir lets you infinitely sack Boromir, because when it dies, you get a token, and then that token you use the Ring Temps, which makes them legendary. Then you sack, and then you just kind of rinse and repeat over and over and over again, making infinite enter the battlefield and death triggers. With then Ellis Akor out, you can gain infinite life, infinite drain. With Smeagol Helpful Guide, you can mill out your opponent. And then with Frodo, it's also a way that you get an alternative way to get the Ring Temps you in there. You can make like infinite tokens with Samwise, which then lets you reanimate stuff by returning legendaries from your graveyard. So it's all kind of interchanged with that. Delighted Halflings in here to help you ramp, Crucius to help you find combo pieces, and then Dejuro and Hazaret can also help you find various combo pieces. Protection with Skrelv in the deck. Plaza Heroes and Great Hall of the Citadel both help enable this multicolored legend strategy. So kind of a cool deck, creature pile that lets you go infinite a number of different ways. We then go to Esper Dollmaker at 62%. So this list in best of 3 is what Alth MTG got to #1 Mythic with. Had a crazy run, something like 103 and 9 in best of 3 with it. So you can check out their profile on Twitch, or like on MTG Arena Zone. They have a full kind of write-up there if you want to check it out. But this is another kind of pseudo combo. It's got the exponential tokens combo. So 3-blind mice comes down, you create a 1/1 mouse. You use Dedicated Dollmaker, new card, and then what you do is you exile the 3-blind mice. It becomes a copy, and then the 3-blind mice makes a mouse token, and then chapters 2 and 3 gets you a chance to create a token copy that's a copy of a token you control. So each instance then targets the token copy. So you go from 1 to 2, then 2 to 4, and then each turn you just kind of get compounding amounts of tokens, both the mice tokens and the 3 blind mice itself. So kind of go from there. You can also do like Hopeless Nightmare as a target to get them to discard stuff with the Dollmaker. Lembas as a way to get card draw in here. Legion to Ashes as a removal spell. Sorin's Ransom for card advantage. You have Porcine Portent, which is another removal spell, and it lets you conjure from the 3 Pigs book, which has some useful ones. There's like a Disenchant one. There's like a Flying Pig one kind of mixed into there. And then Rusko as another way to get, like, even Dedicated Dollmaker, making copies of Midnight Clock's pretty good. Gets you like the reset there, or just with Rusko drawing new cards in that case. And then it's using the new Crossroads land. That's basically just choose a color type land mixed into there. Mono red aggro. So not quite the powerhouse that it used to be, the deck that I previously got #1 Mythic with, but still got some elements to it. More of a burn package now. The only 2 creatures in here are Swift Spear and Electrostatic Infantry. Both care about you casting instants and sorceries. Melt Through is kind of the shock adjacent card. Mishra's Research Desk for card advantage. Firebrand is another shock style effect. Lightning Strikes, Volcanic Sprites for card advantage, or kind of like looting effects. Ren's Resolve for card advantage. Firing Inscription, 3 mana, enters battlefield, tempts you, and then whenever you cast instant or sorcery. So it's just kind of scalable damage. And then Relvo Savile, just as a way to deal with like Shieldreds and bigger things kind of mixed into there. So this is a best of 3 list, but could be reasonable in best of 1 as well. So this one's from Crokies. It's a Mardu kind of mid-range. So we see similar elements with the Dedicated Dollmaker, Hopeless Nightmare. You have Torch the Towers, Reprieves, Juggernaut Peddler as kind of a Thoughtseize style effect to eat at your opponent's hand, take out their best cards. Crucius helps you kind of churn through your deck, ramps you ahead, gets you good cards. Late game turns lands into gas. Kind of unbanned because it's a 3/1 really after the nerf, and Bowmaster's gone. It's also got Jewel Mind Overseer. So 3 mana, 3/3. Enters a battlefield, you conjure 7 dwarves on top of your library, and then they get the ability when it enters the battlefield, you draw a card. And does this shuffle? Yeah, so you do shuffle. And then beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. You may play this card this turn. So card advantage engine, and then lets your dwarves kind of cycle. And then the dwarves themselves get bigger for each copy of 7 dwarves. The removal and Porcine Portent, Shieldreds kind of mixed into there, and then heavy on the creature lands, really just 1-for-1ing your opponent a lot, and then kind of beat down with the creature lands late game. So with Abzan Pigs, there weren't one definitive list to kind of pull up, but like versions combined have about a 58%. I did see like Delmo playing this version, and this one's at like 59%. Reasonable kind of deck here. So this one's all in on pigs. So you have first little pig. This is the Disenchant style effect, good against like ring decks. Second little pig. Second little pig for 4 mana could get flying and has base power 4/4. And then third little pig, whenever you conjure 1 or more other cards, third little pig perpetually gets +1/1. Also triggers in your in the graveyard. Swine Rebellion lets you conjure pigs into play, and then similar with the Porcine Portent. And then you have Drover Swine that lets you conjure more pigs. And then you could also return up to 3 board creatures with different names from your graveyard to the battlefield. So reasonable here with this card getting effects from the graveyard as well. The Contagion Vorak lets you kind of find lands. And then Peddlers for hand hate, some removal mixed in with the Porcine Portent as more removal. Going on, we got then the Jodah version of the deck. So this one's more like a human tribal deck. So you're looking to get out Jodah here, which then lets you cascade whenever you cast further legendaries and makes them bigger. Crucius helps you ramp up into Find It, as well as Gwenna helps you ramp up. And then you have like halflings for ramp and uncounterable, Skrull for protection, Hajar as a way to get protection, Jira as protection, Malira. So a lot of ways to protect your cards, which is important against removal. Arwen can give indestructible as well and move some counters. And then Aragorn lets you get a whole bunch of value when you're casting multicolors, whether it be creatures, scries, damage, or pumps. Radadrabic as a way when your creatures die, you get copies, which gets you just more value. Giroud to kind of, lucky top decks. And then Suruk and Goreclaw, other creatures you control have trample, so you can get really large creatures. This helps you push through that last remaining damage. A couple copies of Terra Sunder in there as well, as like multicolor lands mixed into here. This one went 81 and 41 on the ladder. This one here, 10 and 4, not a huge sample size, but if you want to play fairies, there's a couple new fairies. So kind of the shell of standard, but this one's playing some Ruskos as well as Talion Throne Guard. So Flash Bargain Flying, enters the battlefield, return up to one target spell or non-land permanent to its owner's hand. And then if it was bargained, you tax it 2. There's Toma Gadwick, which is an equipment that when your creature deals damage, you basically get to draft a number of 1-mana cantrip draw style effects. So just kind of pseudo provides that card draw advantage. Fairy Fencings, there's Path of Tuinvale. This is just kind of a bounce effect, so you can choose one or both. You can bounce one of your creatures, it becomes one less to cast, and then you could bounce one of your opponent's cards, target creatures, and then it taxes them one more. So kind of tempo elements there, spell stutters, ego drains, invasion of Amonkhet to reanimate your spells, and you got Rivendell as another way to kind of scry. You do have some number of legendaries, so I guess it's fine in that deck. And then lastly, this one is 3515. It's an Orzhov deck, kind of the tokeny variety. So again, leveraging the dedicated Dollmaker as well as 3 Blind Mice combo. But this one's kind of a mid-rangey shell. Peddlers, the Lord Skitter makes tokens. Mondrak doubles those tokens. Both Shieldreds are in this deck. 1 ring for card advantage. Forcing for protection, or for like removal, and then Conjuring, Legion of Ashes, Virtue of Persistence. Then you have Invasion of Zendikar, or Innistrad as a flash threat. So this is kind of cool because this is still a permanent, so you can make a copy with the dedicated Dollmaker if you need a second removal spell. But notably, this won't flip if you make a copy of it because there's no backside. Same with Invasion of Fiora, is another kind of board reset that can also be flickered. Lilies, Ashiok, just more ways to attack the hand. So kind of a black-white mid-range style shell. You have Minas Tirith. This was pretty good. I was playing black-white tokens in Historic, and this is pretty easy to activate. And then you can draw some cards, and the Fortress as well, and the mana base. That's it for the week. Let me know what you think, what you've been playing, if you've been enjoying this format. I haven't really touched Alchemy since the kind of pseudo soft rotation. I played one game before the Bowmaster banned, and it was a mono black mirror, and it was the stupidest thing I ever played because the entire matchup was who drew the Bowmasters in which order, and it felt not enjoyable. But if it is better here, let me know, and I might be exploring it in the future. In any case, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great one. Stay safe out there.